But wait, there's more.
You know what? I'm going to leave that in.
USA.
Yep, that'll stay. Hey, hello and welcome. Hi to a late episode of RSF Radio. I'm your host, Joe Monday, and this is the podcast where we talk about what's been going on in the world of Street Fighter and the FGC at large. But today, I have a very special guest with me on mic. You've definitely heard him before if you've been around RSF enough. It's Nogarremi. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good, Joe. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. Pretty well rested. Not being off work being off work has allowed me to kind of just chill. I haven't chilled in a very long time, and we are fortunate enough to where we are fine, and Leah's been working a lot, so that's kind of our life right now. But had a very good dinner tonight. One of the very few nights that we went out, because you remember that time that you came to Pittsburgh and we went to that food truck, that Blue Sparrow food truck. It's run by a friend of mine.
Your friend's over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the food truck business is actually doing really well because you have the outside to work with. There's a truck barrier between him and the people who he is serving. So it's all online. He's not using no money is changing hands. So it's not like he's catching the dollar flu or anything like that.
Yeah, and there's no seating that you have to worry about. It's just...
Exactly. So he just cleans the stuff in his truck, he serves people, and then he goes to his next location. And he's been doing really well, which is awesome for him. And his food's just so fucking good.
Dude, that food is ridiculous.
It's real good. It's only gotten better. He makes a Cuban sandwich now, which is
that sounds good.
It's so choice, dude. It's so good. But that's what I had for dinner. Leah had the banh mi. It's delicious. She had the banh mi and then another noodle bowl. He's been doing these bowls. He's got a bibimbap and then another thing, which name I can't remember. What's got noodles in it, but I can't remember the name of it because it's weird.
I know some Korean dishes and some Japanese dishes, but I don't want to say any of them because I don't want to be wrong or pronounce them wrong. So I'm just going to chill.
But regardless, it's not ramen.
I definitely can't get that.
The ramen comes in burger form. But anyway, that's another story for another time. And as you can tell, we're kind of stretching for content here because there's not really a whole lot of... I mean, there is and there isn't, right? There's a lot of FGC stuff going on, but not a lot of official stuff, which is kind of nice in its own way. But also... I don't know. It's just not big. There's not big news. There's not everyone's not on the same page, which I kind of like a little bit.
I mean, it's been what? How many years has it been? 5 or 6 years that it's just been constant CPT events and tours and everything. And now, and just beyond Street Fighter, it's just quiet.
Yeah.
You see more people streaming. More people on Twitter, which is a blessing and a curse, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's more of a curse, honestly. Let's not kid ourselves.
I feel like the blowups are a lot more frequent.
Yeah, dude, they really are. It's man, I don't know. That's that. I don't know if I told this last week, but it's whenever you see a lot of the FGC old heads being like that stuff, that's only on Twitter. That's not FGC. That's only online. And now that we are forced to all be online, it's like, well, that's everybody actually. Well, yeah, it's only worse now. This is what it is. It's only worse now. So I don't know about that one, Chief. Yeah. But it's been good. It's been a good week. It was an Ultra Gen earlier this week, which people should go listen to. I guess I'll share that in the show notes. I didn't plan to do that, but I had fun. I thought that was a good time. Mostly talking about like running online tournaments. You were in the chat, right?
I was in the chat. I was there. I was there if people wanted to ask additional questions, that kind of stuff. Because as you know, and as I'm sure plenty of people here, pretty much done everything that you can do as far as the Monday night tournaments. Right. I've TO'd round robin. I've streamed round robin. I've TO'd double elimination. I've streamed double elimination. I commentate double elimination.
You've commentated solo. You've done it all.
I've pretty much done it all, and I've even done the RSF radio twice now. Only person to guest host, and the only person to guest host twice. Mostly because I just constantly ask you every time you have an off week of like, can I just do this?
Yeah, back when I had to go to work, it was always so it's like a little hit or miss of like, should I? Yeah, it's been rough. Nogarremi, take over. I can't. I just can't with this.
You're finally tapping out. It's good, man. I've been telling you that you need to share the load a little bit.
Sometimes
for I think
take
like
a break.
A year and a half.
Yeah, that is true. And sharing the load in terms of running online tournaments, I think, has been really helpful. I mean, now that everyone in their mom is running an online tournament, it is, I don't know, it's easy to find people to help out, and you have a lot more entrants now. We just had the highest number of entrants a couple weeks ago, back on 420, Blaze It.
I did it.
Thanks to you, of course.
That was my goal. Joe, you don't know this. That was my goal for like 2 or 3 years at this point.
Pump it up to the max.
Pump it. I wanted it for so long to beat the record that you set like way back, I think in season 1 with 114 entrants, and now it's at 116. It's not like we broke it by a mile, but we broke it, damn it.
That was another thing that I was thinking about of like, for all of the years that we've been doing it, like it's maintained entrance over all of the years that we've run it. So like, it's like we haven't really seen a big drop. We haven't really seen like a huge push either, which is weird. Like, I don't know. This is one of those things where like,
I feel like there's always there's always a week that dips or a week that spikes really high, but then you always like level back out to like that 70 to 80 range, which is definitely not bad in any means for, the consistency that we have, the amount of weeks that we show up, and for not even a prize pool, just having organically built a community that is at least 70 to 80 people rotatingly. Like, we've seen people come and go constantly. And that's always, I mean, as much as I've heard you say, like, we just never keep anybody around, it's just like, dude, the fact that we don't keep people around is normal. Like, people rotate out constantly. The fact that we can maintain the numbers especially with the amount of stuff going on in people's lives, for a free to enter pride only tournament
on a Monday night,
so everybody already hates their life because it's Monday. It's actually kind of ridiculous that we get to do something like that.
Yeah, and it's like overall of the year, it's just been really fun, and of course, it's always been fun to have you around on mic and watch you grow as a person within the community and the things that you do, because you have a lot going on right now. You've kind of dipped your pen in the inkwell of a whole lot of other tournaments and a lot of scenes and communities. So maybe you want to like tell us what you've been branching out into these days.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't heard or don't keep up with my life, which is entirely normal, I've moved out from from my resident East Coast college town, where I was finishing up my degree, all the way out to the West Coast. I'm not going to say the best coast yet. I've only been here 4 months, and 2 of them have been in lockdown. So, yeah.
You move out to a place with great weather and then immediately have to stay inside. Ah, beans.
Yeah, it's no different to me than being up north in like Western New York, and I'm just snowed in for a couple of months.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So I'm entirely used to it, but I came out here, and I told Joe when I came out here, like, listen, I'm not going to be able to make, the East Coast tournament, especially because, like, I worked, at least before the quarantine, I worked 7 to 4, and I had an hour commute, so I wouldn't get home until 5 Pacific, which is tournament start time.
Right.
And that leaves no time for food or to decompress or anything of that nature. And so I made the decision, like, I just kind of want to get used to this, new flow, and we'll see if I commentate West Coast with Kamikaze or if I decide to just, stop and move forward in my life in a different direction. So going from there, the first couple months were rough. I didn't get to go to Wednesday Night Fight Oakland that much, just due to money concern. I pretty much spent all of my savings moving out here, and then still had additional help from my parents. And I spent the first 2 months of the year just repaying my parents with every single check that I got. It's just like paying a little bit back until I felt comfortable, building up enough savings here and stuff like that to start spending money. Started going to Wednesday Night Fight Oakland, and it was just maybe my second time there. They're like, yo, does anybody want to do commentary? I'm like, of course, I'm in there. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And I think I took LPN off of commentary. He had to go play a match, and I sat down with Crack Fiend, which was a beautiful experience to meet and interact with him. He's a fantastic dude, exceptionally energetic, and not always the most technical, but definitely it's what I really appreciate about his commentary. He really loves the psychological aspect of the game and that kind of stuff. I mean, he's been playing fighting games, I think, for 10 to 15 years at this point. Maybe
yeah, he's been
20,
around for a while.
Yeah, he's definitely he's getting up there. It's not quite James Shin, but
no, he's a good dude though. But like, bringing that energy, you don't necessarily need to have that technical know-how if you know what a player is trying to do.
Yeah, it's like
what
the
they're
Seth Killian effect.
Yeah.
Seth Killian, one of the best psychological commentators. I love hearing him talk. It's the best.
Yeah, speaking of guys who've been around for such a long time that have helped create some of the best games that exist, to be quite honest.
Yeah, Street Fighter Cross Second.
Hey man, the game's okay.
It's actually a really fun game if you haven't played it. I recommend it. I believe the Street Fighter Cross Second community has been running online tournaments in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, they've spun those back up, and I think that more power to them. That game ended up in a pretty good spot, and like even the netcode's okay as well. But anyway, not the game I was talking about, but definitely a game that he had a hand in.
I wanted to subvert your expectation there because it was going to be really fun.
That was more of an Uno game, to be clear, but
yeah, beyond after the Oakland commentary, moving into the quarantine kind of section, I was really blessed that my company allowed us to work from home a week before the quarantine orders actually came out, which was amazing. That's fantastic. I really love that my company keeps their ear to the ground and is on top of it when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's smart.
And so when the next week rolled around and everybody was kind of in a panic to get events up and running, I was like, I've already been here for a week, so I'm already comfortable in my environment. Everything's set up. My kind of flow of work all set up. And so naturally, a lot of people came to me at the beginning, both from r/SF and from Wednesday Night Fight, being like, hey, can you commentate this stuff? We need somebody. And so I want to say it was 1 week where it was the first week of quarantine. So I didn't commentate that Monday, but I was in chat and doing a lot of TO stuff with Axio to make sure, because you guys had almost like 100 entrants that week, which was the largest in a while that we had. So I was there maintaining that. Oh, I forgot that I mouse to keep my monitor from going to sleep.
No, you're still with it. Don't worry.
I know you can still hear me. I just can't hear you, which is also an issue.
Yeah, that would not be good.
But so the Monday I did that. So that like ate up my time like right after work. Tuesday I did my own stream. Wednesday I did
tell people what
Oakland
you've been doing, what you had been doing on your own stream, because it was pretty interesting.
I was just reading a book and everything that came with that. So I had like a normal narrating voice, and then I had like voices for every character. There was like 10 characters in that book. It was Enchantment by Orson Scott Card. Something that it didn't hit me until later that they mentioned Rochester in that book, and then I went to Rochester Institute of Technology. I don't know which came first at this point because it's been like 6 years, but
you set up a lot of the stuff for their tournament presence, let's say.
For RITFGC, I did a whole lot of stuff out there, but
yeah,
I just meant going to Rochester in the first place. It's interesting that it was mentioned in the book, and I didn't even connect it when I applied to the college.
Had you read that book prior?
I have read the book, I think 3 times prior to my reading on stream. So I kind of had an idea for all the voices that I wanted to do, because that's like I already had the internal monologue of dictating these people and what they kind of sound like. But even that I found a little bit of challenging, like figuring out exactly how I want a voice to sound, because I don't want it to sound racist or like sexist in any sort of way. Like I want it to feel kind of natural. But it's a story like based on a Russian family that immigrated to the US. So there's just sometimes where like I would drop down and do like a Russian, like an accented English from Russia.
Right, but you don't want to go like Groucho Marx. You don't want to go
I didn't want to go like full motherland. No. So
yeah, that makes sense. And
but it was
might
a ton
have
of fun
been
to
more
read through.
difficult to listen to, let's say.
Yeah, more or less. But I more than that, I wanted each character voice because it's a very talk heavy book. And so I needed to have the distinct voices for when they were talking back and forth. Because often in books, there's no like he said, she said, he said. It's like there's different voices going back and forth, and internally you're supposed to know that, but it's hard to read sometimes. I also don't listen to audiobooks that often, so it was kind of like a new experience for me to pretty much just record an audiobook.
Yeah, no, that's I don't know, that's like a cool side project that I think is cool that you've started. Of all of the things that people have been getting into during the dark times.
It was very unique, but I will say it's probably one of the worst formats to have a stream of, because you can't interact with your chat pretty much at all because you're reading a book, and it's just a really long aside. Well, like I can read the chat, but like it's hard to reply to it because I'm in the middle of chatting,
right?
Or of already talking and processing things, and it's already hard enough to read out loud, like read words on a page, read out loud, and still flow. I can't tell you the amount of times where I would start off reading the sentence and kind of know what they wanted to say and just like switch like the syntax of the sentence all around, and then like I would like start moving on to the next line and be like, I said that wrong, but it still meant the same thing.
Of course it did. Reading out loud is hard to do. I don't like doing it. I don't like reading from text out loud. Even when when I have to give speeches, like I don't like reading from text. I don't like it. That's just never how my brain works. Or even like when I would play piano, I didn't like reading music because I would get too focused on the reading of the music. So I would just memorize everything that I played, and I would just play it to the point where my music teacher was always like, "Could you point to me in the sheet where you are right now?" And I'd be like,
Nope.
No, I cannot, because I have not been looking at it.
Am I playing it perfectly though?
That's the thing. How would she know that I didn't know where I was? Haha, gotcha, bitch. No, she was a fantastic teacher, and she was very kind, even though I'm pretty sure she hated me. But anyway,
I mean, I find teachers are always like really kind. But back to the point.
I once asked her, "How do you play jazz? Like, teach me some jazz." And she's like, "I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you mean by that." It was like that kind of person.
It's like, what do you mean? Like, you don't just play classical music all day?
It's like, what?
Crazy.
She was like, "Let me go read about that. Let me read about this Yaz you speak of."
Yes. Soft J.
Soft J. As they say. Anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
But yeah, basically the rest of week number 2 of quarantine for me was just talking. So my day job is basically being on phones with people. And then I was spending my lunch break reading a book. And then I would get off of work and commentate, usually for 2 to 3 hours. At that point, it was 15 hours of talking a day almost. And I kind of got a little burned out. I felt like I never did anything else in my life.
Yeah, not
besides talk.
Yeah.
And so eventually, I think around like a week or two after that, I finished up the book. I had already said no to a couple of different commentary places or commentary gigs. I think Thomas Winkley, one of the other commentators who was kind of filled in my role in my absence. And he does Utah tournaments and commentary, and so
Get
there's
Good
been a couple
FGC
times he asked me.
Is the outfit he runs out there?
Yeah, and I've just had to say no sometimes because I'm not feeling it. I feel like it's one of the things where I got really used to always saying yes because of RSF Monday nights. I would always be there.
Right.
I was more consistent than Joseph Monday.
Hey now.
I was so consistent.
Hey now.
I streamed it, right? I'm not trying to call you out, but it's just what it is. I mean it in the most endearing way possible. You needed to take a break, Joe. I don't blame you.
Yeah, that's true. Because there were some dark times. Even
2019 was the hardest year for you.
That was a bad year. Damn! Don't remind me. That I'm thinking back to 2019.
I tried not to. And if there's one thing you want to take away from 2019, remember that big thank you server that me and Quasi set up, and that's what we want to give to you out of 2019.
Oh, please. But anyway, so we've all kind of transitioned to online tournaments and doing fun stuff like that. Has there been have you noticed any follies that other organizations take whenever they are running online tournaments?
Streaming losers bracket matches.
Oof.
It irks me to death. It slows everything down.
Yeah, man.
Especially because in Smash GG you can pit a match for on station, and there's times where we're playing a winners round 3 match, and somebody, and I mean all the power to the players for wanting their matches streamed. They request their match, and it's a losers round 2 match, and it just takes forever to get everything running.
Yep. It's one of those things where I keep saying it, and I keep telling people this, that the way that you have to think about running online tournaments is respecting the time of the players who are there. And that means everybody, not just one player who wants something done. So you have to prioritize the many over the few in those cases. So if someone wants to be streamed in round... Man, someone told me today or was it yesterday? I have no idea. Days run together. It's a fucking blur, I tell you, man.
What they tell you?
That they were in an online tournament where the organizer streamed 3 matches from each round, not like stream 1 from each round. So like round 1, they would stream a couple of matches. Round 2, they would stream a couple of matches before they even got to top 8, which, like, if you think about how that would hold up a tournament in as far as like the losers bracket goes, that's fucking wild. That's so much time. Like, you're asking people to just sit at home alone by themselves, not doing anything for an unnecessary amount of hours.
Let's be clear. They're not just going to do nothing. They're going to go and play like ranked matches or find something else to do with their time. And then when it comes time for them to actually play their matches, they're already doing something else, and you got to draw them all the way back, and it just makes everything take longer. And
it takes them out of the mindset of being in a tournament. It takes the tournament out of step. It's just it's a mistake to prioritize like your show over the time of the players. Like
that. It's going to be hard for me to say this one without being very direct. I do have another peeve that's been irking me greatly, and when I'm like your main commentator and you basically just put me on the sideline so that you can have players commentate their own matches like as they're playing. It's a really fun, like, interactive kind of thing to do, and it leads to some really great quotes and sound bites.
Right.
It feels very insulting to me when my only job is to commentate.
I see.
And try to provide, like, a really nice and analytical kind of style. And that's more of like a personal thing. Like, there's a balance to it. I get it. But to be completely silent and be like, no, don't talk this match. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get up and pace my apartment.
I'm gonna do a walkabout. No, I get it. Like, why can't you also be there? Is like, I don't know, and just add to because that's one thing that online tournaments miss out on. That I actually think that, and I haven't experimented with this enough, but I actually like team tournaments online much better than I do just double elimination, like one-on-one tournaments, because a lot of those teams hop into chats and they talk with each other. They talk about the matchup. They're giving each other advice. And there's that specific element between those players, at least, of this is a group event, which you don't often get in a big like 1v1 tournament unless you're actually like watching the stream or engaging with the chat, which is asking like even more of the players if they even enter. But a team tournament can have that part. Ideally, what we've tried to do in the past is force people to join voice channels on Team A and Team B, so that through, like, on the production side of things, we could just flip to that channel at any time. So, like, something exciting happens, someone wins, we flip to that channel and see everyone being like, yeah, fuck yeah, like...
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, you bopped them, or like, you suck, you got away with murder there, you just like, you know, bullshit like that, which that to me would be ideal. Now, getting everyone that has entered the tournament on board with that idea is difficult to do when they just want to hang out with their friends and play their game, which again goes back to the whole like let people do what they want to do.
Yeah, but I feel like, you know, RSF Monday night team tournaments have, I mean, the entire thing that we've kind of done with the Monday night tournaments is like we have this long lore at this point that gets really confusing, especially when it's like DR Magnegro. That's such a callback that most people that watch the stream don't even know at this point.
Yeah,
It's
because
so
the
funny to
DR
me,
is
though.
not in the name anymore, right? It's
Well,
out of
also-
the name.
It's so funny to me because I get to see the look on your face every single time, and you're like, "God damn it, he did it again."
Yeah.
Or like chicken sauce. That's great. Also, I noticed that there's a gap where I would have said chicken sauce, and the archives on YouTube aren't there anymore, Joe.
So that's
Where are
because
they?
there was a time where I wasn't uploading the entire uncut version. And
I can't even find matches. There's like a 3-month period where there's nothing.
Ooh, that shouldn't be true. That shouldn't be the case, as far as I'm concerned. But I'll go back and check the tapes.
I can't find chicken sauce anywhere.
I
wanted to clip it to put in my highlight reel.
I think that clip exists at least, and I'll find that. That clip might be hard to find, but we'll find it.
You
this.
really tried to kill chicken sauce at a certain point.
Oh, well, only because here's the other thing: is what you said is because there's that lore. When new viewers come into the show and they hear chicken sauce, or
What do you mean?
Or
My mom
DR.
took me to Victoria's Secret?
or Victoria's Secret, or like Mr. Knife, for example. People don't know Mr. Knife. They don't know the chicken sauce lore. They don't know all of that.
Or your long list.
Or the long. You got to have a long list. It's a whole thing.
It's almost like a third leg, Joe.
I know, but joking about all that stuff, while fun, I always feel like I have to like limit people on how much like old stuff we can go to now, because what I'm interested in is the new shit. Get me some new hot shit. None of this old wine. I don't want your old wine. Give me your brand freshest, newest bottle of wine. That's what I want.
You mean like Rushdown returning to be like a villain again?
Yeah, see, that's fun. And then actually, like, in my opinion, him and his match against Robert Television, and specifically Robert Downing Television, is good for me, at least, because now we can build that. We can build that again, like, and have him as a character. Like, people might not remember that he has the money in the bank still. So there's part of that lore.
To remind people. Shh.
Well, maybe. Who can say what my job as the commissioner is? Or even like that lore of me calling myself the commissioner of the tournament, which like people coming in out of brand new would be like, what the fuck is he talking about? This is nonsense. But regardless, like, for people who are trying to run their own online tournaments, little stuff like that can be a way to at least like harbor your own community. Like, the people who are in the know, and it's fun to joke about that stuff, and see people in the chat kind of remember things. And whenever there's a perfect post a Goldblum in the chat, because that's just what you do now. Or,
post a Goldblum in a chat it's very defined, right? There's a perfect, you talk about the perfect, and you say post the Goldblums in the chat, and the chat does it, which is a way to incorporate stream chat into the fact that this is an online tournament and it's being streamed. And I think it's actually a wonderful way to kind of combine that, all together.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the other part about in-person tournaments versus online tournaments that people miss out on, is that when something happens live, there's usually people around you being like, oh, damn. And the chat might pop off. It's one of those things that you have to connect the chat to the players so that everybody's energy feeds off of each other in a positive way that builds community. And I think that is one of those things that does help, I think. Yeah,
absolutely.
Other people can kind of take that for what you will. Use it how you want to. I don't care. Because that's kind of my other thing about this, is like, because we've been running online tournaments for as long as we have been, like, and I know that a lot of people are trying to run online tournaments, I just want that information out there so that people can run a good event that is like fun and worthwhile, because so many people have tried and failed over the years, and like watching people scramble to throw stuff together and still stumble over it, to me is like, well, at least the info's out there now, so get fucked, I guess.
Yeah, you've done your part, and you definitely used your reach, as you know, with the RSF Twitter, Reddit SF Twitter account, to promote that kind of stuff, and being on shows like the Ultra Chin show, really helps spread the reach of that kind of stuff. So I definitely read through it, and it's more than applicable to just online events. It's like 80% of the way to running real events, maybe even more than that. It's pretty much all there. Even the stuff where it's like the stuff for like streaming in general. If you're streaming just a local event, you can do the same things, like clipping the stuff and, downloading the clips to make them MP4s and then uploading them to Twitter so that people can just click on them and watch them.
Yeah, it's wild to me that in the year of our Lord 2020, people don't do that still. Like, and I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like, that's a click away from the app that they're currently using, which they have to load in a different app to even watch the thing. So there's
loads up their web browser, which then tells them to load up their Twitch app. And too much.
You don't want that. It's too much. It's too big of an ask whenever you can just download the thing yourself and then you're good to go. Like, put it there, and then people will like it more, and people will be able to see more of it, which is what you want, because it highlights the players, it highlights the event, it all helps you. But like, to still see people not do that is like, nah.
That brings up another one of my gripes. People never credit commentators in any of those clips. Commentators are 90% of reason that those clips are worth something. Granted, the player did something sick, but
that is an egregious percentage applied to the commentator, my guy.
All right, it might be a little egregious, but
90.
There's
my man said 90.
All right, thanks for calling me out. Haven't missed that from the East Coast. But it's definitely like a good portion, or like a good percentage of the clips, might even be like 50-50. We'll make it even, where the commentary can really carry some clips. And
you're not wrong about that, where that is true. And times where commentary is like,
and nobody tags the commentators. They're like, man, look at these sick players. It's just like, but man, these commentators actually did everything here. And we've seen like a little bit of it. There was I keep going back and forth. I know.
So heavy-handed. I can't take that with a straight face. Like, even being a commentator myself, I'm like, nah, fam.
There's definitely sometimes, and I think what really comes to mind is when I think it was Super Dynamite and Saint Cola were commentating a Fairy versus Ladiva match in Grand Blue, and the Ladiva player was timing out the Fairy player. For those of you who don't know, Fairy is like a long-range whip character in Grand Blue, and Ladiva is a grappler. So obviously there's like that range dynamic where it's like really hard for Ladiva to kind of do stuff. And just playing that runaway game was super difficult. And they made that so hype, and hearing that clip of it, I mean, as much as it was about that player doing super well, their commentary on that is what made that so exciting. Because you've seen people get lamed out before, and it's super boring. And it's just like, man, this guy's sitting here running away, and there's nothing the other guy can do.
Yeah, or you've seen commentators downplay that of, I don't know, like, it's just, I can't do shit. Man, this sucks. Like have it feel bad that someone is getting zoned out.
Yeah, but it felt really organic. It didn't feel like fake hype. It was, I guess it could feel like fake hype if you're not used to like the deeper mind games, but like it was super interesting to me, and they made it super exciting for me to watch, and I was overall excited by that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where highlighting, I think, the commentators is really important in cases like that, where what the player did was extremely patient and really good fundamental play, but nobody cares about that when you're just staring at the screen and two people are crouching away from each other and nobody's like pushing buttons, or like everything's getting blocked, and like, and not in like a fun way either. It's just like, medium whip getting blocked over and over again, and it's just like, okay, cool. But they made it super good.
I can't. I'm not going to agree with you on this, on your very firm stance here about the amount of quality that. Let me finish. Of quality that commentators bring to a clip like that. However, I will start doing that now, because for two reasons. Of one, it does give credit to people who are around and being on the mic more than just them being tagged in the overlay occasionally, but it would also give them the opportunity to share the clip of themselves doing commentary and knowing that exists for like future use and shit like that. So that I think is a more practical reason as why to share commentator clips versus commentators bringing 90% of the value, my guy.
Listen, everybody makes mistakes in life, Joe.
You shot your shot. I'm not gonna. I mean, hey, I'm not gonna hate you for it. I
will say, the way I said it was not appropriate. The way you said it is what I was meaning. After I spent a year on commentary, it got really frustrating to look at all the clips that gets posted on the Reddit SF Twitter account and to have none of the commentary attached to my name. To really not be able to go back and look at how much people enjoyed certain parts of my commentary, like even comments on my commentary, because I'm not tagged in it. I don't see any of the comments on it. It just kind of feels bad in that kind of sense.
No, I got you. Something I will reconsider in the future, but that's a good point.
As much as you give exposure to players, commentators enjoy exposure. Especially when I commentate your tournament every single week for an entire year.
Okay. Point taken.
And every clip isn't of like the lobby screen, so you don't get to see my name.
That is true. That is true. Not something that I would think about. Why did you bring this up earlier, man? Like we could have worked something out. You could have. I'm open to gripes. To gripes anytime.
It never came up, Joe. Every time I thought about it, it was like the middle of a day. I'm going to class. I got stuff going on. You're at work.
Making it sound like I'm not available. That's not true.
It's not that you're not available. I'm not available. I'm a busy man.
Oh, you're a businessman. No, that's a good point that I think that I will do and I would recommend other people do when they run their tournaments because it puts more eyeballs on things and gives more credit to more people, and I'm all for that. And that's it. Gonna do that going ahead in the future, which is a good idea. But still wild that people aren't doing all of that stuff in 2020 of downloading the clips and posting them. Something
that's
that I
more egregious than anything I was talking about.
Something that I've wanted to do also is in terms of write-up is like the practicality of streaming an event and like where you should focus streaming, because I think that might have been lost in that write-up of like what you want to focus on when you like are behind the wheel.
Picking matches.
Maybe just picking matches.
Just expand on what you mean. Yeah.
Maybe picking matches because a lot of people and stations are useful, yes, but they're useful in an online tournament to like a degree, if that makes sense. Because Challenge actually has stations now too, which Smash GG has, where you can set up like X player on the stream stations so that they see it. I see it. The person who'd be running the tournament would see it, or whatever. The players would see it, so that they would know this match is going to be on stream next, so that all works out that way. That has its uses, but really it only has its uses like early on in the tournament. And you can't really set all that stuff up beforehand, even though I feel like a lot of people's first natural reaction to that would be like, oh, well, why don't I just set up the whole tournament beforehand? We'll stream XYZ matches all the way to top 8 and then good to go. You could do that, but you are going to the time schedule
some flexibility.
Yeah, you need to have that flexibility. Like locking yourself into that would be like, okay, you stream one match. Let's say, what if it goes 0-2 and it's fast, and the next match that you were planned to stream is on the other side of the bracket, and it's like none of them have finished yet. Or maybe one person finishes and the other one doesn't. So now you're just waiting around and having to stretch for time, versus there was already like 2 or 3 other matches are available to be sent to the stream where you could have something to show and something to do during that time, instead of just trying to fill for dead air to stream the match that you in your head wanted to see. Like, I get it. Like, there are matches that I would want to see earlier on in the bracket that sometimes just for, and it's not because I don't think they're worthy of seeing, and it's not because I want the stream to go well, because holding matches up to be streamed holds up all of the matches later on. Like, specifically when you talk about how that affects losers bracket, because anything that you do to hold up the winners bracket has a double negative impact on the time of the loser side of the bracket, which I don't know why like people don't understand that. But regardless,
almost like there's twice as many rounds in losers than there are in winners. It's crazy.
Yeah, that you need to really burn through, because like one match being held up in winner's side round 2 fucks up round 1 of the loser's side, which is like they've got double the way to go. So you can't start withholding matches. You can't be holding people up. You just have to go and be fluid, specifically early on in the tournament, which is why the early part of the show is always like, I never know what the fuck's going to happen. Like,
the early part is like, are we going to see a blowout, or is this match going to take like extra long, and like, are we going to have to like almost start like hold one match for round 2? Well, we can't even do that, but like, just like you see like 90% of round 2 being done, but you're still in a round 1 match, and it's just like you got to at some point just ride it through, because you either have the delay here, you have the delay later, and usually up front is just better.
Yeah,
it'll just be less time.
That's the other thing. The slight delay up front ends up being like better in the long run.
Absolutely. But sometimes that means like if your round 1 match goes really fast and your round 2 match goes really fast, and there's still like a round 2 match that hasn't started, you can sometimes pick that up, but you have to be careful with it.
Yeah.
And that just comes with more experience of knowing like how this is going to work out.
Yeah, that's true. Because like we've done that before, and it's only that like special instance where like things have gone really fast and that has been like a really slow one, or like we'll even go down to like some matches in like the loser side just to like, but only like way later on in the tournament to
losers. We only pick losers matches in top 12 when they're going to qualify for top 8.
Yeah, that's the other thing, because
usually we're already done with winner side and we just need something.
Yeah, like going ahead with winners top 8 winners side before top 8 losers side is decided yet, you almost have to do that because of the time that winners is going to take, so that losers will be determined by the time that you get there. Because if you're trying to stream every match in top 8, then you can't wait for it all to be determined.
And I mean, that's kind of like the blessing in the curse of running all of top 8 3 out of 5 is you hit winners top 8 super quick.
Yeah.
And then you look down in losers after like you hit top 8 and you're like, they're like not even close. Like they're like 4 matches away.
Yeah.
But we have 2 first to 3s to stream before getting there. And so usually it's long enough where like we have at least one losers match ready and the other one's like right there. And it all just kind of works out. Other times it's a blowout and we're vamping for like a long ass time. It happens. Nothing's perfect. It
happens. It's not super often that it happens, but it does happen. What you don't want to do is then stream winners finals before you stream those top 8 rounds because of what you start icing the grand finals player. Like then they're just waiting around for what could turn out to be like an hour and a half before their next match. So what the fuck are they doing? Like
the winners finals player, both of those players get iced super hard usually.
Yeah, but that's more fair to the both of them than it is to if you would just do that to one player. So you can't do some crazy bullshit like that. Something that I've seen other online tournaments try to do is like set a like we're gonna run all of this until like top 8, and then we're gonna stream top 8 at like a later time later on in the day, and that to me is like weird. I don't feel good about that because now you're asking someone to like come back like later on,
interrupt their day later. Yeah, like
yeah.
So you have every single player like that begins the tournament plan to spend 2 parts of their day doing stuff. Nah,
yeah,
I'm not a fan.
I feel like
you try to eat too much time there.
It's a big ask.
That's how normal tournaments work, right? It's just like, okay, top 8 will be in 6 hours, or whatever. Well, not usually that long, but like 2 or 3 hours, come back then.
I get it. I get it from that standpoint because at a tournament, there's shit for someone to do. Like, there's like that downtime that someone might want to like have people there to practice with, or like just there are more. You can eat food. Like you can go out with people. There are people surrounding you, so you're not like home alone, being like, well, guess top 8's in another 4 hours from now. Guess I'll just take a dump during that time. See you on the toilet. Like,
I mean, part of that is setting up a community that sticks around to play like long battle lounge sets afterwards or whatever the initial tournament.
Yeah. That's like a whole other thing that like is often neglected in that sense. Like, especially if you're going to do something like, hey, come back later. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're going to run, let's put it this way. If you're going to try to run your online event like a in-person event, then you should be dedicating the resources that you would for a in-person event, or similar resources. Maybe not the same kinds of resources, but like a similar effort.
Yeah, I mean, stream people just playing battle lounge matches, or maybe run like a round robin or a Swiss tournament in between, or something. Like, you can still make use of that time rather than trying to get people to come back. And I feel like that's a little bit that's a little bit unexplored.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I agree with that.
There's a lot of room for growth that we can see in terms of online event production and presentation, and communication. All of those really could come together, and you could have something that's amazing. But for the longer events, it's so hard to do on a weeknight, right? Like your regular local, you definitely for a regular local shouldn't be asking people to come back later in the day, because that's going to be extremely late, because you're already starting your tournament probably at 7 or 8 o'clock local time, wherever you are. That's going to take, I mean, depending on how many entrants, I mean, it's probably going to be at least 2 hours. So now you're looking at 10 o'clock, and you want people to go away for like an hour? Everybody's not going to come back. People are tired. People are going to bed.
Yeah, that causes a whole huge issue. I can see it for like a big event, but again, that again is unexplored of like what kind of resources are going to put into that, which is like kind of cool to think about. Like that. And also kind of a bummer, because this whole time I'm thinking, what if people actually cared about online tournaments like over the last 4 years, instead of never actually putting the time into them, and everyone I've ever seen run in this time.
Let me make that a little more simple, Joe. What if people cared about online?
Yeah.
Period.
Man. And like, I got into this on Ultra Champ.
Actually, let me change that even more. What if developers cared about online?
Exactly. Like, it's a perfect storm, right? Because like, if the developers don't put the time in to make it worth your while, then why should people outside of the thing put the extra time to make it worthwhile. But at the same time, it's, at least in my opinion, it's okay enough to be able to explore that to be a worthwhile experience, of which people have told us that our tournaments are a worthwhile experience, which I have never heard about any other online tournament. There's not true. Most Ronan's
really good.
Like most other online tournaments prior to that, the only story that I hear is like, man, this is bullshit, or like, why would this ever be allowed in an online tournament sense? And it's like, man, trust me, like I've seen
every CPT ranking online event ever.
Exactly. And like, I have offered to help for those, or at least like provide assistance. And like every time I've done it, like they were always like, nah, it's okay. We have people doing that. And it's like, all right. Okay.
You know, not many people know about this. I've been a part of the people who do that before.
Yep.
I've run brackets for Level Up Live for CPT online events. And Smash GG's terrible player experience every single time.
I know. Smash GG is good, but it's also bad.
It was even worse in 2016.
Yeah, that's the other thing of like it. I don't know, man.
It takes way too. The time to load on Smash GG, and this is something that even Crackfiend has taken a look at. It's like an egregious amount of time. It's like 10 or 15 seconds. Yeah,
it's in my write-up specifically as to why people should not use Smash GG to run their online tournament. It's like a huge issue of expecting when you click on a thing, like everything you want to access is behind like 2 or 3 clicks, and when every click takes about 5 seconds each, you're adding that much more time for a response whenever you're having like a chat with someone, wherever they expect like a boom, 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 boom. So it's like, let me present this idea to you. It took me a minute to get there. So then it takes the TO another minute to get to where they were. So now you're like 2 minutes apart in like a Discord chat where people are also managing, like it just gets lost so fast where you need that quick response time.
Think about this classic example of what Smash GG tries to do right, but gets wrong. And I'll lay this example out very, very quickly.
Okay.
Smash GG has each player confirm each one of their games with the other player. Every time, you can't go on with submitting the score for the next game until the previous one has been submitted. And when you're doing a set that's 2 out of 3 and it goes 2-1, you have 3 sets to go through and report and then confirm.
Mm-hmm.
So much overhead for that. So much overhead that it used to be a 15-minute timeout by default for Wednesday Night Fight Oakland. It got lowered to 2 minutes, but it's still a long time. And in challenge, somebody reports the wrong score. Other players like ats an admin, hey, this score was reported wrong. Can we fix this? And if there's a dispute, the dispute process is usually just go and check the CFN logs and see what happens.
So fast.
Like super easy to do.
Yeah.
And it's just the overhead to like get to that point of like it tries to eliminate that need to like ask an admin like about like confirming a score or like fixing a score, but it's just so much of extra time and waiting for the other player to confirm to then have it take forever to load on your phone to show that they confirmed. It's
specifically the other player confirming, because what does someone do when they lose? They walk off. Like that's more often what happens.
They go and get something to eat. They go pee. They take a shower. Who knows? They're not at their desk anymore, or wherever their couch, wherever they're playing from.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea in theory, but in practice, on a human level, it's
terrible. It's so slow.
It's terrible. It sucks. I hate it.
It's one of the ideas like you talk about in a meeting. It's like, yeah, TOs will love that. They won't have to go through and check any of these matches. And it's just like, right. But now the matches take forever and the players hate it. The TOs are like, why are these matches taking so long? I want to run the next match. And
yeah, I get it.
Anyway,
I get it.
I feel like this past week, you've just been talking about tournaments. And so I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about. I want to give you the opportunity.
Nah, I said a lot of what I needed to say on Ultra Chin, which I would recommend people going to listen to if you want to hear more on that topic. Because like, here's like the other thing is that if you want to run your tournament on Smash, like fine, go ahead. Like you can, it will be fine because I mean, let's face it, Challenge doesn't have a lot of the other things that Smash has that would make it like viable for like a big tournament. Like if you're not rolling to run like a big event, you kind of have to use Smash, and you can't really use Challenge. Or like if you want to have your prize pool like right there on the bracket service, you can't really do that on Challenge. I mean, you can, but it's like this extra shitty step that I wouldn't expect any human to do. Not yet, at least, although they are working on PayPal integration, so like they're getting there. It's just not. Yeah, they're getting there, which like after all of these years, like they fucking it's
one of the things where like Challenge was complacent for a while, like okay, we're the bracket thing that the FGC uses, and then Smash GG kind of sprung up, and it was like Challenge was a little bit late on the ball, you know, getting things together and applying, getting all this stuff together. Yeah, I don't know their entire situation together, but they're getting there, and they're doing, I think, a really good job of focusing on their audience and knowing what they want, which I feel is something that goes wildly wrong in this day and age, where everybody tries to appease everybody, and you can't do that. You have to set your audience, and you have to aim for that audience, and you have to nail it.
Yep.
And when that becomes very, very good, more people are like, oh, that's actually a really good product, and like this is the use for it. I can use it for this. That's right. Like you don't have to redesign a hammer. You just use the hammer.
It's like
it's just a tool.
Smash GG is like the definition of building a better mousetrap, where they've built this incredibly elaborate mousetrap where it's like all we actually
but you have to reset it every time that the mousetrap goes off. You have to reset it, and it takes forever.
Yeah, we just need a mousetrap. We just need a bracket. Sometimes it's all you need, which is why I prefer Challenge, which is why I need to do a write-up on like how to actually run an event once it begins, because like I don't know, to me, and again, this is one of those things where like I've done it for so long that it might be hard for me to like
to put it in words, because a lot of it becomes
it's like second nature,
innate knowledge. It's just it's like, okay, this is what happens. This match is running behind. We need to go do this thing, and it's a shortcut process. Like this is happening, do this thing. Right. It's the same thing in fighting games of like shortening that mental stack. It's just like you do this thing. It's like, okay, my opponent jumped. I need to hold on. What anti-air do I do? They jumped at this range. I need to do crouch fierce, and like that's so much longer than like, oh, they jumped at this range, crouch fierce.
Yeah, it's the lowering the mental stack of running a stacked tournament.
I mean, it's the same. It's literally the same concept.
It's I mean, it's the same brain power. It's the whole thing.
Way. Yeah,
yeah. So like, I'll work on that in the next week or so, just when I have thought
Joe,
about it long enough.
If you need help on it, you know, somebody to proofread.
I'm always any of my shit.
I know you don't. Not since the old days.
Keep it dirty. All right, folks. I think that will just about do it for your show. Unless there's anything else, Nogarremi, that you want to cover before we turn the lights out here.
I did kind of want to talk about mental health in quarantine.
Okay, but that's fine. That's a good option.
We're gonna run for like another 30 minutes. I don't know if you want that.
Let's hit it. Let's hit it real quick.
All right. So
tell me what you got.
Yeah, as somebody who has been working in quarantine for 2 months now, a full 8 weeks, I believe, after Friday. So tomorrow it'll be 8 weeks in total. Mm-hmm. And the things, I mean, I started off pretty much in the same boat as where I am now, but really setting up your spaces for your sorry, I keep burping, I keep drinking beer, and there's just a lot. Setting up
podcast mistake. You got to drink something still, like a whiskey. It's still not bubbly.
Joe, I can't do it anyway. Setting up your physical spaces for specific tasks is I feel very important. I started this with a makeshift desk in one corner of my room, my for play desk in the other side of my room, my bed being my bed, and I actually had a little space where if I wanted to like do push-ups or sit-ups or whatever, it was right in front of my bed. That's where I would do it every time. Right? If I really pretty much anytime I touch the workout space, I'm doing some push-ups or some sit-ups. You just get into that mental habit. It doesn't take long to do like 10 push-ups, right?
Right.
Just setting up those spaces, even in like a simple 10 by 10 room, super important because it defines where your tasks get done, right? If you're working, you're in your workstation. If you're playing, you're at your PlayStation. Well, PlayStation, not sponsored.
Boo. Boo this man.
Boo Tom.
Boo Tom.
and if you're sleeping, you're sleeping. And it's not, oh, if I'm in bed, I'm on my phone and I'm doing this other stuff and I'm doing, yada, yada, yada. No, it's you're in your bed, you're trying to sleep. And if you can't sleep, you get up, you do something else. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we've been doing
life
things
works in general.
Yeah, it's like we don't have a TV in our bedroom, because we don't want to associate that lounge time with bedtime. Like
exactly.
those are different times. Like your brain space is different in those spaces. Like that's why we have an office. That's why, like, we have office space. And like once Leah's in her office space doing her office stuff, I can't be in it because I'm not part of the office space. I'm not in the equation of office space. I can't be in the room. But you have to define them.
Setting up those stations is really important. And then setting your schedule, right? So I go to bed at midnight. If I'm in the middle of something, 12:30, it happens, right? You're allowed the flexibility. Don't feel bad because you mistimed something. It happens. Not everything goes according to plan. Get back on track. Do your best. I wake up at 6:30. Now you might be saying 6.5 hours of sleep. That's a little low. Aren't you supposed to get 7? Absolutely. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Don't be me. I know that.
Don't be me.
Don't be me. I know I can do that because that is how my body is, and I have listened to my body about it. But chronically undersleeping is bad for your health.
Yes, I can tell you from experience. It super is.
How's that waking up at 4 o'clock job going?
Oh, it's so awesome now that I don't have to do. I'm still waking up at like 6 now, which is like reasonable. Actually, but man, running those tournaments until like midnight and then waking up at like fucking 4:30 was never cool. It was never cool. Rough. And I did that for like a half a calendar year, almost a whole year. Fuck. Glad that shit's over.
That kind of stuff is rough, but making sure that there is the set time of sleep. Okay, so I sleep from 12 to 6:30. Sometimes I go over. I miss my alarm at 7 o'clock. Whatever, flexible. But I start work at 9. I work for 4 hours. Well, I work for 2 hours, take a 15-minute break. I work for 2 more hours, I take my lunch break. I get back from lunch, work 2 hours, 15-minute break. 2 more hours, I'm off work. Right? Very structured. What I do on my work, or what I do during my lunch and during my breaks is I'll get up, I'll do chores, I'll, sit down at my computer if I don't have any chores left, making sure that I get priority stuff out of the way. I make food, that kind of stuff, having that time away from work where I don't think about it. I'm not like worried about whatever next phone call I'll take or whatever thing I need to do. The next thing I need to do is be away from work.
Yeah, and you're also like standing up and doing something like physical that is physically different.
Great point, Joe. Every hour, stand up.
Yeah.
Walk around. Do something. Go to the bath. I don't know how your bladder works. If you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, but walk around a little bit, get the blood flowing, walk into your exercise space, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, squats, whatever. Stay in shape. Physical health in this time is important, especially because physical health can get your mental health back on track.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So the schedule helps, determine these times. So 15-minute break every 2 hours. Pretty much every hour, because I'm on phones, there's always downtime where I know I don't have to do something. I guarantee you, if you're doing pretty much any sort of job, you are not required to 100% sit at your desk for a full hour. You can get up and do something. I don't care if you're coding on a project or whatever. You can get up and take a break. As a matter of fact, 90% of the time, if you're sitting straight staring at something for an hour, you're not being productive anymore. Get up and do something.
Not entirely true for like this does not include factory work or any kind of manufacturing or anything like that, to be clear.
Well, if you're in your house right now, you're not doing manufacturing work.
Right. I'm just saying for further down the road when we're not in the dark times.
Right.
But still.
Then after work, I'm pretty much at my, after I make dinner, right? Go make dinner. Eat at regular times, I feel, is also really important.
Yeah. Like keeping a regular eating schedule keeps you regular.
It does help keep you like, I'm not regular, excuse me. I'm not always the best about that. That's actually something I need to work more on, but
yeah,
do that, right? Having that structure in your day is really important. Spend some time when you're not busy practicing something, a hobby or something away from being in front of like a computer or a screen, scrolling through social media, watching YouTube videos or Netflix, Hulu, whatever have you. It's nice to do that stuff every once in a while, but to spend like, if I spent like after my shift 6 hours of my time just being a vegetable, I don't think I would be happy with my life. Even as it is, like sometimes just playing Street Fighter for like 3 hours, I'm like, man, I've been playing Street Fighter for a really long time. What am I really practicing at this point? Right? You can have that, you can turn that quantity time, especially for fighting games that require a lot of your stuff. That quantity is sometimes really important of making sure that you nail stuff or like you learn stuff. But at a certain point, you have to be like, am I really getting anything out of this time? Or like, what else could I be doing?
Yeah, that's right? Kind of a good point with like fighting games in general, of like, because I've definitely hit that wall of I'm not actually learning anything at this point. I don't know what I'm doing right now. But like your brain needs that extra time to process the matches that you had played to like actually gain any information from it. So like I have always found that like short bursts of playing has been more beneficial to me than like long. Well, I don't know, but like short bursts of like highly specific, this is what I want to do with my time, not like short bursts of in online ranked. I stopped playing ranked years ago.
Trying to do rank like that will literally just drain you and make you really angry. No, I know.
You can't.
I've done it.
You can't do it. I mean, it has its uses, but like to a point. You can't be just hammering that and think that that's a beneficial experience when it just is not. But anyway, I digress.
And so you might be saying by the end of this is like, man, I don't really have anything else to fill my time with, right? You're telling me not to watch YouTube and not to like spend all of my time practicing fighting games. What am I supposed to do with like 6 hours of my day? And I say, exercise some more. Do like actual reps. Look up body weight exercises. I'm not the best for it. I do push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. You can do lunges. There's like plenty of other things. And if you have the extra budget, buy some weights. Weights add a whole lot where you can do some strength training. You can do a couple of other exercises that you can't normally do with just body weight. Make sure that the rest of your chores are done. That's what I say. Vacuum regularly.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're showering. I didn't even mention showering or brushing your teeth or that kind of stuff. But do that. Have good hygiene.
As someone who but me not showering, when I do shower, I luxuriate in it. It is a luxurious experience. It is.
Right,
I take
instead of like having
long,
3 days in a
dark
row
shower,
3 days in a row where you shower for 10 minutes, you wait 3 days and then shower for 30.
Exactly. It's a luxurious, lights are off, dark shower, whiskey at my side, just like getting scrubbed, if you know what I'm talking about. Taking that dark shower. So good.
Joe, I don't need to know what you do in the dark.
It really opens up the pores.
Oh God.
In the dark shower. It's good. It's like I also have a bathroom that has like a small natural light window, so it's not all super dark, and it's probably around noon at this point
nice
because
bathroom.
I don't have a job. It's a nice bathroom. I'd take a shit in there.
It's a nice bathroom. You take a shit in there. Do you take a shit in the upstairs one or the downstairs one?
It's my house. I can do it both. I take it up top, take it on the bottom.
It's wherever Leah is in.
Well, it's actually like wherever she is not specifically.
Yeah, that's what I try to say. It's not. I might have slurred the isn't together.
You did, but that's fine. Yeah, it's more so like, let me find the one that's furthest away from the people. That's where I'll do it. But yeah. Dark shower, long, luxurious shower. But the other end of that is making the bed every day. Like, getting up, making the bed seems unimportant. I'm going to get into it a couple hours from now. Nah, it's important to like, it's the thing. You got to make it.
See, here's the thing. Joe can see my camera. I don't think it's going to make it to the full cut, but my bed is not made.
Oh, no.
If I ever stream or I'm not just chatting with friends, my bed is made though, because I can't. I know that if I leave it unmade and I stream, I'm going to get called out. And I don't need that in my life.
You can't be a messy boy. You can't be a messy boy. Don't be a messy boy.
Yeah, it's whatever. Then, yeah, I mean, really making sure that you use your play space or workspace as specifically for those tasks. Mm-hmm. So, like, if your desktop is for, like, playing games, social media, videos, whatever, don't eat there. Eat somewhere else. Eat out in your kitchen. I don't know if you have, like, another table that you can eat at. Get away from your desk for a little bit. Like, just go somewhere else. Yeah, that's also important. I feel just go out over there. I mean, I have a little patio. If I want to like read a book for a little bit, I don't have any chairs out there, but I'll stand for like 10 minutes and just read a book. Mm-hmm. You know, read like 2 pages. I don't know, whatever I get through in 10 minutes.
Yeah, because like I can get down with a degenerate lifestyle from time to time. I understand it, but in these times. In these dark times of the quarantine that we are in, if your bed is your office and your dinner table, that's not a good setup for your mental health.
I want to point out, I live pretty much in my room, right? I work on one side of the room. I sleep literally to the left of that. And then the opposite of the bed is my play, where I do all my fun stuff with my 3 monitors. But I still am finding more often that I have better time decompressing when I'm not in my room.
Yeah, you can redefine those spaces instead of what if I was just in my bed all day? What if I ate the Eggo waffles in the bedroom? What if I ate in the bed? What if I had the cheeseburger in the bed?
No, hold on a second. Don't eat in your bed. There's so many crumbs. Ew.
What if I just ate the whole bag of Cheez-Its in the bed? I'm not trying to be judgmental for that kind of lifestyle, and if that's how you want to live, like, I guess you do you, but I can't co-sign that. I can't co-sign.
None of this is trying to degrade the state that you find your life. This is just trying to be helpful to add structure to your day and to get you out of your room or like whatever 3-foot space that you can find yourself into 90% of the day.
Yeah. Variant structure is important.
Yes. Thank you. That's 90% of what this conversation was. It's been 15 minutes or so. But that's boils what it's down to. Yes. That's exactly the words I wanted to use.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. I'm good at words. I speak on the microphone a lot. I'm sure this doesn't ever get annoying.
Speaking into microphones, that will just about do all the speaking into these microphones we should do for today. So that will just about wrap it up. Do you want to answer the question again? You know what the question is. The two-part question?
The two questions, my favorite fighting game normal and my favorite combo.
I know you've answered it before, but would you like to answer again?
Oh, God. I don't think I can remember the Evil Ryu combo that I did last time.
So maybe do another one real quick. I mean, that's only if you want to. I don't often re-ask that question to returning guest. So actually, I'll ask you this question. Different question.
Okay.
What has been what have you binged in this time of quarantine?
What have I binged in this time of quarantine? Of course, I've already gone through Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is coming to Netflix soon. I think early May-ish. Don't quote me.
I recently I've never watched it. I've only watched a couple episodes. And what I tried to watch, and I know the series has like such dedicated fan base, and like I know that it might be a quality show at some point, but I don't jive with it.
There's some parts of it, as it's the same thing with my roommate. He does not like it. There's part of it just like being that childish kind of main character, or like following this like group of main children. That kind of makes it hard to watch as an adult, because you're like, why would you make these stupid decisions? Like, come on, obviously this is like, when you're in this situation with these people, this is what you should do, and like you should be more inclusive. And like, of course they reacted like that because you said this thing to them, and but the show has a lot of good depth if you were to like sit down and analyze it and look at every character arc and that kind of stuff. But that's not for everybody. Sometimes you just want to watch a TV show and be entertained really quick, and that's fine. I can accept it. But fight scenes, the last fight scene in that show, I recommend everybody watch, because it's just really fun to watch.
Okay.
It's just it's well animated. That's all I can say.
How many seasons is that?
It's three seasons. I can't remember the exact amount of episodes.
They have like a 24-minute runtime though, because it was a 30-minute show.
30-minute show, yeah.
30-minute block. So it's like 24 minutes each episode. So each one is not a huge time sink, really.
22 to 24 minutes, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely a good show. I always recommend it if you like it. Obviously, if you don't like it after watching like a few episodes, it doesn't super change in terms of like its theme and like the things it tries to do. After, like, if you don't like it by the end of like halfway through season 1, it might not be for you. Like 6 episodes in, just it might not be for you. I think the final season is the best, and I feel like that's what most people can jive with. There's a lot more action, and the depth of the characters have already been established, and so people get into it a lot more. But
yeah, in my mind, anytime I hear anyone speak about The Last Airbender, it's always the final season, and always like Legend of Korra, where it's like
Legend of Korra is
that's where the good-ish stuff is, versus like how that show opens, and like where like it just takes so long to get there.
Yeah.
When like in my mind, I'm like, I already know where this is like. This is gonna end. This like Uncle Iroh guy, right? He's like this jolly old man, and he's got this hateful son of a bitch around him all the time.
Yeah,
obviously he's going to turn. Like that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, season 3 is when all of that pays off.
Maybe I'll just watch season 3.
Maybe just watch season 3. If like watch like the first 6 episodes and then watch season 3.
Yeah.
I will say like the beginning of the show is very like much more episodic and independent versus the later half of it, where every episode kind of flows together and you start getting all these bridging storylines that resolve
right
in different places and that kind of stuff, which is fantastic. But besides that, I've just binged YouTube videos, just garbage, honestly.
Okay.
I've actually been in quarantine so long. I've gone back and I've started rewatching the stuff that I started with. So
oh no.
I gotta just stop watching YouTube at this point. Like I can watch like the new stuff that comes out, but I can't get anything else. I spend all of my time practicing fighting games now, or singing. I've done a whole lot practicing singing now.
Huh. Yeah, that's right. You were telling me like you're doing some like voice coaching and stuff like that, like trying to like
not even
cords.
just singing. I've been doing rapping as well. I learned how to rap the last verse of Godzilla, which is Eminem's. It's the new record for the fastest rap done, and it's by Eminem. It's 10.65 syllables per second. And I can do it here, but that's just a little cheesy. So
okay,
y'all just have to believe me.
Okay, I will do just that. All right, cool.
I had a feeling you're going to ask me like, you going to do it?
No,
I'm like,
I wasn't going to do it.
Nah,
I'm not going to force it. Nah, people can follow you and your shit to maybe have you post that somewhere.
I don't post any of my rapping or singing anywhere because I'm hella judgmental of myself. I 90% of the time don't have backing music, and it's just listen, I sing, I don't mix, which is two different worlds. It's so much to do.
That's fair. I
have a good voice. It sounds better if it's like slightly auto-tuned so that I actually hit notes, because notes are hard. I don't have perfect pitch, and my voice is a solid like 3/4 of an octave lower than I hear it normally. So try figuring that shit out.
As long as you're close enough, it's usually
I hit a lot of flats.
The auto tune is like, here's the thing about auto tune is that it's mostly undetectable if you have good pitch already. So like when you hear people actually like the notes actually change is when someone is really fucking bad, like when they're really trash, which in my opinion, like anytime Kanye tries to rap sing, he's one of the fucking worst. He's terrible. He's trash. I actually don't like Kanye as a rapper. He's a much better producer. He's also a crazy, insane person, so go for it.
I hit every note as a flat, which irks me so much that I just can't hit the note. Like all I have to do is like adjust my pitch like so small to like hit the note proper, but I hit it flat. And I'm like, cool. I guess I just get to sound terrible for all of my life, but that's fine.
Nah, just shoot higher. That was this trick that try to sing it sharp. Try to go sharp.
I try and it just doesn't work. It's just the way my brain is. But we've gone on for too long, and we need to end this podcast.
Yeah,
so Joe,
that's a show.
Please.
Where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me at Nogarremi on Twitter, or they can find me twitch.tv/Nogarremi. Hit up my website, nogarremi.com. It's just a simple resume. I try to get more people to look at it. Tell me what you think about it. At me on Twitter. Be like, hey, I think this is cool. I don't think this is cool. I think, it's has too much white on the page and it's not balanced enough. Like maybe a darker color would be good. Like I'll listen to it and take the advice and try to see what's happening. But Mr. Joe Monday, where can people find you? I know that we're already on like pretty much every podcast platform that you can get to as like one of the many titles that r/Street Fighter has.
True.
But where can people find you specifically?
At Super Joe Monday on Twitter.com or Joe_Monday on Reddit SF. Reddit Street Fighter. Yeah, actually, it's not actually Reddit SF. There are no two-letter. That's the other thing, is that there's no two-letter subreddits, so we couldn't even make RSF and then forward it to our Street Fighter. Anyway.
But there's 3 letters, right? RSF4?
There is RSF4. That exists. Which,
okay, whatever.
It doesn't matter at this point.
In the podcast.
Or at Reddit SF on Twitter.com. Or just go to our Street Fighter and see what's up. There's a lot of good stuff there. Don't forget about the tournaments on Mondays and Fridays. But that will do it for another episode of RSF Radio. But until next time...
But wait, there's more!
No, there isn't, because the episode is over. I just hit that button again.
Nice.
Have a good one, folks. Until next time. Bye.